Okay, glass of water, 17 monitors, ready to go. Welcome back to the Playoff Computer NFL Playoff Race NFC Preseason Edition. Just like the AFC version, we'll look at what it takes in general to make the playoffs, some important things to consider, Vegas win projections, and how some teams maybe could get off to surprising starts, both good and bad. That could affect the playoff race early on. You can make your own fantasy football playoff races as exciting as the NFL with the Playoff Computer app. And new for this year, there are several professional leagues that can be imported. You can analyze the heck out of the NFL yourself and do what ifs for your favorite teams. Everyone starts the season with a clean sheet of paper. Each team has, of course, a 1 in 4 chance mathematically to win their division and about a 44% chance to make the playoffs. From a numbers perspective, and looking at it where there is no bias for good or bad teams, the general target to aim for to punch a playoff ticket is 10 wins, and to win a division is 11, 12, maybe 13. Certainly each year there are going to be outliers, especially for division titles, but the 10 is usually a pretty solid target. Last year, 10 did the trick in the AFC, while in the NFC, the Seahawks missed out barely due to a little-used tiebreaker. Now, besides just aiming for 10 wins, and of course, a win is a win, but not all wins are created equally. Most important, intra-division games. This isn't just for the division race, but they can be crucial for the wild card battle as well. That is because the NFL uses what is called a best in division rule for breaking ties in the wildcard race. So if 3 teams are tied for a wildcard spot and 2 of them are from the same division, the tiebreaker between those 2 is settled and one of them is pushed out before even getting to figuring things out with that third team, as only 1 team per division can compete for each spot. After that, conference games are often important when it comes down to tiebreakers. Conference record is the second tiebreaker in the wildcard tiebreaker list after any best in division steps are taken, and it very often decides a spot. While it doesn't come into play often, it did last year. Getting wins against quality opponents can be extra helpful. As I alluded to, the Seahawks missed out last year due to a strength of victory tiebreaker. Now, a quick run through of each team, particularly their opening schedule. See if there are any potential surprises or opportunities to surprise or disappoint early on. The Dallas Cowboys finished last year a disappointing 7-10. The betting line doesn't predict they will be much better this year. Based on last year's record, they have the 5th toughest schedule, starting on the road against the Eagles, then get the Giants at home, followed by Bears and Packers. Seems like they'd be happy with being 2-2 after that. And if we knew now that they would be 2-2 with wins over the Giants and Bears, that would keep their chances right about where they are to begin the season. The Giants won 3 games last year. Vegas has them almost doubling that for 2025. What might hurt them is they have on paper the toughest schedule in the NFL, beginning with Commanders, Cowboys, Chiefs, and Chargers. They are going to have to peel off one of those with their defense to avoid an 0-4 start. And an 0-4 start would put their odds down to about 8-1 to make the playoffs. The defending champions are the favorites to win the NFC East again. As with their division stablemates, a tough on paper schedule, opening with the Cowboys, then Chiefs, Rams, and Buccaneers. That is not a cakewalk, especially if the Chiefs remember what happened in February. But I think it would be fair to give them credit with a 3-1 start being plausible, which if we plug it in right now would put them at a 2 out of 3 chance to make the playoffs. The Washington Commanders surprised people with a 12-5 record in 2024. Their win line is 9.5 this year. They have what looks like the easiest of the NFC East team schedules, but is still in the top quartile of the league. Get the Giants at home to begin. Tough defense and randomness of Week 1 football isn't going to be one to overlook. And the Packers, Raiders, and Falcons, I could very easily see them come away with that with a 3-1 start and be neck and neck with the Eagles. On to the NFC North, which saw 3 teams go to the playoffs last year. We'll start with the perennial winners of the offseason. The Chicago Bears were the only team of the bunch to be bad, going 5-12. Vegas says they will be 3 to 4 games better this year, but because they are in that NFC North, their schedule looks like the 3rd toughest. They open at home against the Vikings. Might be the best time to play them with J.J. McCarthy getting the butterflies out of the system. Then the Lions, Cowboys, and Raiders. If they could sneak away with wins against the Vikings and Cowboys and take care of business against the Raiders, they could enjoy a 3-1 start as well. The Lions were arguably the best team in football until the playoffs started. Betting line of 10.5 wins, tough schedule on paper. Packers, Bears, Ravens, and Browns to lead it off. That is 2 teams that aim to compete with them for the division. The always tough Ravens, and well then the Browns. They aren't big favorites at Lambeau. This does have the look of, if they don't bring their A game, a 1-3 start wouldn't be surprising. The Green Bay Packers also had a quick visit to the postseason, but an otherwise successful year of 11-6. Vegas has them projected right behind the Lions for the division. Certainly the Week 1 game will decide who has an early advantage. After that, Commanders, Browns, and Cowboys. Another NFC North team that could see 3-1, but could also see 1-3. The Vikings went an outstanding 14-3 last year, but like the rest of the NFC North, didn't stick around long in the playoffs. Vegas has them with 8.5 this year, same tough schedule as the rest of the division. Bears, Falcons, Bengals, and Steelers. It's going to come down to their quarterback, I imagine, but those are all winnable games. Moving over to the NFC South, the Atlanta Falcons were in the playoff race most of the year, right up until they dropped their last 2, finishing 8-9. Their line is to do about the same this year. Basically a middle-of-the-road schedule. The opener against the Buccaneers is anticipated to be a shootout. And the Vikings, Panthers, and Commanders, I'd say 2-2 seems like a reasonable outcome from that. The Panthers went 5-12 last year, and Vegas doesn't have them being much better this year. But I don't know. This might be a team that could surprise. 5th easiest schedule on paper. Start with Jaguars, Cardinals, Falcons, and Patriots. All teams that are perfectly capable of losing otherwise winnable games. If I had to pick an unlikely team to start 4-0, this would be it. And with this division, that would be a big leg up. We will see what happens. The Saints also went 5-12 last year, and Vegas thinks that was too many wins. Being in the NFC South, not the toughest schedule, but expectations are low. Maybe a tough opening. Cardinals, 49ers, Seahawks, and Bills. If I had to pick a likely team to start 0-4, this would be it. but it would just take sniping that first game against the Cardinals to start a new picture. And the Cardinals are nothing if not suffering from multiple personalities. Vegas has the Buccaneers at 9.5 wins, and that being plenty good to take the division. Definitely some interesting games to start out with. The big opening against the Falcons, and then an intriguing one against the Texans before hosting the Jets and Eagles. I really don't know here. I could see 1-3. I could see 2-2. The Arizona Cardinals went 8-9 last year, and honestly, in my head, I thought they did worse before I looked it up. Seems like they were never in the picture. Betting line is for them to basically repeat that. Do get a tour of the NFC South to open up with, Saints and Panthers. So definitely a chance to leap out to 2-0 before playing the NFC West favorites, followed by the Seahawks. On paper, a fairly good schedule. I'd almost say if they don't start out with that 2-0, they will be a disappointment. The Rams won the division last year by a whisker. Their big question is going to be Matthew Stafford's back every week. They have what is showing as an average schedule, but toughest among the division. Start with the Texans, Titans, Eagles, and Colts. That has 2-2 written all over it. Note, none of those are division games, so they could get away with a lackluster start. The 49ers are the favorites in the division, betting line of 10.5 wins. Easiest schedule in the NFL on paper. Seahawks, Saints, Cardinals, and Jaguars to start. Really no reason why they couldn't at least be 3-1, if not undefeated, after those 4 games. The Seahawks line is 8.5 wins. They'll need to avoid any pitfalls to beat that. The big opener against the 49ers, then travel to Pittsburgh before hosting the Saints and then going to the desert. That could be a rough beginning, and 1-3 would not be unheard of. That's it for now. Check out the Playoff Computer app for your fantasy or other league playoff race analyzing desires. Enjoy your day.